Hello, Sue.
Are you okay?
I am very well. How are you?
I'm okay. It's quite warm already, isn't it? I'm just going to angle this a bit.
I can see you've got some beautiful work behind you.
I'm in my studio, so I've got a gallery wall so I can put some work up for open studios and things. But I've had the studio for about 15 years now. It's in my garden, which is very handy at the moment.
I've been fascinated with your work for quite some time because you're not just a textile artist, are you?
I think most things I do are based on drawing, but I love to work in clay, in porcelain particularly, paint, and I combine paint and stitch a lot of the time. I use near colour crayons and paper and stitch, and I'm getting more and more into print lino and dry point.
So where do you find the inspiration for your work?
A lot of it is my local rural landscape around. I live in Buntingford in East Hertfordshire, so there's a lot of arable fields, or particularly like winter fields, and silhouettes of trees. So we'll go on walks, or when I'm driving I'll take it all in. The sort of sense of place is an important thing in what I do. And then I'll sit down and quickly do some sketches. I love seed heads, and it all sort of goes in and something happens and stuff comes out.
So looking at your monochrome pieces, you seem to be drawing with the needle.
Yes, I've got pages of sketchbook that are tiny squares and rectangles of fields, and I'm obsessed with trees. You might realise that from my work, and that to me they're sort of like groups of people, and they're in my head. They're very clear images, and often I just go straight onto a blank piece of felt without drawing anything on it, and it just comes from somewhere. But other things, like I did an exhibition last year, and I took my inspiration for the landscape and I reproduced a view from the gardens of trees. It's actually on the wall up there. So I meticulously looked at a photo I'd taken and then drew the shapes onto paper and moved them around, get the sizing right, but still drew I just put a few pencil marks and then drew it all with the machine. It sort of works from the needle, from my brain to the needle. I can't explain how I do it really, but it just sort of flows. And then threads, I've got a few here of the Madeira Rayon classic range, and they do this lovely 30 weight. And I've recently discovered these wool machine embroidery threads. I'll have to see what they're called, I can't remember, it's got a strange name. Vermelana, that's another Madeira one. Someone on Instagram was using that. And the picture behind me with the landscape, with the copse, that's all done in this. And it's lovely to work on the felt. It's just really, because it's not shiny at all. That's lovely to work with. And I use cotton threads a lot in my landscapes as well. Superior threads have a lovely range. They're more quilting threads. So yeah, and I'll use anything though. For hand sewing, I'll use anything, just anything to hand. But I've refined it more for my machine embroidery. The wool felt is 3 millimeters thick, so it's fantastic surface to work on because you just put it under the machine. It does distort, but I really like that effect. But you don't need anything on the back of it at all.
So have you got some work though that you can share with us?
Yes, the stuff I've been doing recently is rather big, but I've got a smaller example of one of my black and white landscapes here. So this is based on local fields, and it's this 3 millimeter thick wool felt, and I've used mainly black threads. I really like using the heavier weight Madeira threads. They're 30 weight threads, which really give a nice feel. So I start with the furrows in the fields and the tree outlines. And it takes quite a long time to do even a small piece like this. and then I fill in the details of the furrows with lots of back and forth on the sewing machine.
So for people who are currently on lockdown and they would like to have a go at doing some experimental stitching, what would you suggest as a good starting point?
I've got a couple of samples here that I show my students. This one here has got lace bits, brown paper, linen, all scraps of dyed fabrics and pattern fabrics. I've stuck them all down on a piece of calico and then had fun with contrasting stitch on the top, just playing around. And then I've done the same thing in this landscape. I've got painted paper, organzas, torn up pieces that I've stuck down and just sewn over the top. Just doing little samples is a really good way to extend and come up with new ideas and turn your critical brain off and just have fun with the colour and the freedom that the free motion or hand stitch gives you, I think. So I use a mixture of bonds web, and then you can get a powdered form adhesive that I use quite often that you sprinkle on and then iron the top layers on, or judiciously placed pins works quite well as well. I can fit 4 people in my studio, so I run a variety of courses, and it's all very much about people developing their confidence and an individual style.
So if people want to find out more about you, would you advise they contact you via your website?
Yeah, I seem to sort of channel everything through my website, and it's got links to all my social media, and there's my email contact form on there as well. So that's the best place to contact me from.
Thank you very much for your time today, Sue.
Thanks, it's been a pleasure.